Hello everybody, Jose Rodriguez here. I see we got 7 people already on here. Don't be shy. Tell us who you are. Tell us if you are here to listen to drone tech, drone information, and how it is used to obtain footage, videography, photography, still, even time lapse that you would normally not be able to get from the ground. So as you can see, I'm a regular guy. I use a camera, and I have been doing this since I was 11 years of age. That's when I started to explore photography. And thanks to my generous dad, he bought me a little 35 millimeter camera. And of course, soon after that, I had to get a darkroom set up. So I kind of took over one of my mother's closets and set up a darkroom. And back in those days, that was back probably 1960, there wasn't really much available out there for a beginner to use as an enlarger. So I was using my mom's dishes and so forth for my developer and other chemicals, and everything was done in that little closet. Well, I evolved, came to the U.S. from Puerto Rico, and continue my pursuit of photography through school, high school. Back in those days, we had shop in school, which, I don't think that happens too much anywhere in most urban high schools nowadays. But anyway, it was fun. And then I went into the Army, became an Army photographer, spent 22 years, got out, retired, that is. And then I went into a job as a medical photographer, basically working in microbiology, doing electron microscopy and regular microscopy, as well as a lot of histology work. So that's all about me. I'm still doing photography. I retired when I almost became about to become a grandfather. And so I decided, hey, let's go ahead and start, devoting my retired time to my grandson, of course, and to photography. And then I got into the printing aspect of it and so forth. Well, some of you might say, what are you doing talking about drones if you're a printer guy? Well, of course, what do you do with drones? I'm not a flyer for fun, although I love to do that. It's very relaxing. Go to a field and just fly aimlessly around. No, when I get up in the air, I like to take video and I like to take photographs. And of course, that's what it's all about. So about a year and a half ago is when I discovered the world of drones. Of course, I knew about them, but I didn't realize to what extent they were being used in industry, in all sorts of different walks of life and all kinds of different professions. Drones were being used. I was watching all of these shows. I like all of these discovery type shows. And of course, they will incorporate a little aerial shot, and it just sort of goes through you unconsciously. You don't realize that it is indeed done with a unmanned aircraft, a drone with a nice camera on it. So, do you want to get into this? Is this something you might be interested in doing? Well, when I first started, I got the cheapest, junkiest toy drone you could ever think of. And yeah, it was fun. I did learn the basics that way, sort of cutting your teeth, if you will. And slowly but surely, I realized, wait a second. As I started to explore YouTube and saw this, thousands of videos about drone flying and hundreds of channels by individuals, I realized, wow, this is something I really need to learn and study a little bit more. So how did I start? Well, I started with a very basic little drone. And if I want to, I would like to show you what I originally purchased. And let me go ahead and minimize this. This is it right here. Let's just go ahead and click on it. And I have it here live with me as well. As you can see, this is a great little camera drone. Although the photography that it, provides you leaves a lot to be desired, but the whole idea of this is to spend very little money. It comes with a controller and everything, and you learn how to fly. Flying is everything. Once you learn how to fly, how to ride a bicycle, how to skate, then you're ready to proceed to get fancy, if you will. So this is it right here. And this little baby right here is fantastic. Really, really awesome. I got extra batteries for it. This little thing will take off and hold its altitude for you. So if you take off with it facing away from you, meaning the camera lens facing away from you, it's a very simple matter to maneuver. And it will yaw to the right, it will yaw to the left. These are movements that you do on a quad. You will roll to the right, you will roll to the left, forward and backward tilt. Now, if you want to do a roll and a yaw at the same time, then you will use both sticks. You will roll to the left and simultaneously rotate the drone on its axis. And that will afford you all of those movements. And of course, this is the easiest way to start. There are little prop guards that you can attach. So if you hit something, nothing happens. Nothing breaks, nothing gets damaged. And you are able to then learn what the basics of flying are. Okay. And once you get past that, of course, you're going to immediately want to, go up the ante a little bit. And so the next thing that I saw was this one right here. And I have the box right next to me. And again, this is for you guys that are interested, guys and gals as well, that are interested in getting into this. So this is what I just purchased immediately after I sort of became confident enough to say, hey, I need something a little bit more advanced. And so this is the SJRC S20W. And again, I originally paid something like $140 for it. It is a GPS hold quad. It uses altitude hold as well. And so it is extremely easy to fly. Once you lock to GPS, meaning that when you start it up, you have your controller and you have your app loaded on your phone. Most of these drones require an application to be loaded. And it gives you the notification that you have sufficient number of satellites. Then you can go ahead and take off. And usually it's just a simple button you press on your controller and the quad will rise up in the air. So this is it right here. This is what I got. This is what I then used for the next several months while I was basically learning how to fly. And learning how to fly, again, it's like riding a bicycle. Once you get it, once you get the idea of what you're doing, there's a battery attached right here. Once you get the idea of what is you're doing, then it begins to sort of come natural. It's like breathing. And so the idea is to gain as much confidence as you possibly can. And once you do that, then you can graduate to, it's like learning the piano. You have to learn your scales first. You have to learn your chords. And then after that, you can start basically composing your own music, if you will. So after that drone, I began to watch a lot more videos. And again, if you guys got any questions whatsoever, go ahead and post them right now, because that's what we're here for. I want to begin to do this a little bit more often. And maybe in the future, soon, there is another streaming application that allows you, the viewer, to join me on a panel. So then we can have both of you, my face and your face, and whoever else wants to jump in also on the same panel, and then we can start to communicate with each other. It makes it a little bit more personal rather than just me talking to you guys and you guys cannot immediately interact with me. So if you guys are interested in doing that, and some of you that are maybe already extremely, how shall we say, experienced in this field, can jump in and help me out, because I don't know anything. I'm still learning. Okay, I'm still learning. What I do know is through learning from other people. And that's what I do. I learn something, I practice it, and then if I have something else to add, something new to contribute, I will then pass that on to you guys. So what happened next? Well, I discovered the Typhoon Q500 from Unique. Let me show you what this bird looks like. And if you guys have been following my drone videos that I have on a specific drone playlist, okay, in my regular printing channel, okay, if you want to look at those, there's over 60 of them in there now. So you can go ahead and look at those. take a peek at all of the different drones that I have been flying with. Many times it'll be just in my backyard because I am restricted in the area that I live in until I go to my grandson's big 6-acre property, and there I can fly with a little bit more freedom, and there are no aerial restrictions as far as the FAA goes. So when I do that, I take a new bird with me every single time. And here is just a bunch of shots of what I'm talking about. This thing has to be about 3.5 pounds when it's fully loaded. Let me see if I can open up this image here, show you what that looks like. Not really. Okay, it's a very small one. So let's see if we can give you sort of a good idea what these things look like, especially this one bird here. Come on, let's blow it up. Okay, so here's one. Here's what that looks like. It is gorgeous. It comes with about a incredible controller that has a built-in Android system in it. Again, it's one of the original first so-called smart controllers with built-in screen. Most of the new ones now do not have that. They don't afford you the luxury of a screen. You have to use your phone. You have to either connect it via Wi-Fi alone, which is not so good, or via data cable to your controller so you can see what the camera on the drone is seeing. This is an interesting little gadget that it comes with. You can take the camera and attach it to this little hand carrier, and it becomes a gimbal camera, a handheld gimbal camera. All of this comes together as a kit. Okay, so you can get these brand new. Let's see, I think these are from Europe, so let's go ahead and get out of that. But you can get these refurb, as they call it, for about $350. Originally, it was about an $1,800 drone. So Unique doesn't make them anymore, so support's a little bit, iffy. But there are some third-party repair companies out there that do still service them, and you can still get many parts on eBay from various sellers. So if something goes wrong, you can replace it. Like this camera right here, it does not communicate with the drone anymore, so I replaced it with a brand spanking new one. Cost me about $180. And now this one is just basically as a demo model. So you can see this is a 3-axis gimbal. This is a 4K camera, and it shoots in all sorts of other resolutions, different frame rates. You can get a really, really good cinematic effect from these cameras, the video that it shoots. I did something earlier, 1080p, 120 frames per second. And then on the Premiere from Adobe editing suite, I went ahead and basically stretched it to slow-mo. So it was like butter smooth and gorgeous. Even though it was only 1080p, it still looked fabulous. And so this simply attaches. Oh, look at the gimbal, it's just floppy, right? Once it connects to power, then it will set itself to the horizontal position for your automatic. And this is the only connector that you need to plug in to the drone. So this thing just simply dangles underneath the drone. As you can see here on the display, you can see that the camera just sits below here. And so again, fabulous, fabulous bird to start with if you want to go immediately to a more advanced type drone, one that has a lot more capabilities than the ones that I worked with earlier. This will get you right up there like that. So they fly extremely well. The controller is just fantastic. And if you're a little worried about learning, there's also a simulator that Unique sells. You can buy it off of eBay. It comes in a little stick. And then you basically attach that right here. This is it. You attach it to your USB on your computer. I'm afraid that it only works for Windows at this point. And then you use your actual controller. You connect it to that fake drone and then proceed to fly. And everything you do is translated over to your screen, just like if you were using a regular controller with a gaming system. You control the drone. You can also crash it within the application itself. And so a great way to learn, and also a great way to pass the time if the weather outside is really nasty and bad. You can immediately just say, forget it, I'm just going to fly. Anyway, it just won't be outside. It'll be in front of my computer. It gives you a very realistic feel. So it's really neat and a good way to learn. Now, here's one of the catches about like drones that have been around for a few years because it's older technology. And all of these units run with lithium polymer batteries. And those are kind of dangerous. If you know anything about RC models, like RC cars and trucks, they run on LiPo batteries and they can blow up. They can light up like a fireworks if you're not careful. So there are steps that you need to follow, charging procedures that you need to follow, and you need to stick to those. You can never mistreat those batteries. I will not get into details about that because that will take forever. But anyway, something to be aware of. They're quite a bit more dangerous than, say, just regular flashlight batteries. Okay, you've heard of these phone batteries exploding in airplanes, jet planes, and airliners. That's why they're so critical about you carrying those in the plane. So anyway, the next thing that I did was, well, I thought, you know what, this drone is wonderful, but the problem is it's not really something that is portable. I mean, I have a case that is this big. Let me back up so you get an idea. This big and about that deep, and it weighs like 10 pounds on its own to carry everything that I need. That's extra batteries, the controller, the handheld device, and the drone, and extra propellers, and the propeller clamp, and all of this stuff needs to come with you. It's not something you can throw in a backpack. So I started looking at something else. Now, of course, I was already aware of DJI products. DJI basically has almost a monopoly on the top quality, the top tier of drones, especially camera drones, either for home use, for recreational use, or professional use, and even industrial use. So I looked at those prices and I thought, I just cannot afford something like that. I need to find something a little bit more affordable that will still provide me with relatively good quality, ease of flying. I don't want automation. I don't want the drone to sort of maneuver itself through obstacles. I want to be able to learn how to avoid obstacles myself. So I kind of stayed away from those. Even if I could afford to buy them, I probably would not have chosen to do so, simply because I wanted to learn sort of the hard way, how to properly fly. I didn't want any precision landing baloney. I'm going to land that thing precisely myself. That was my attitude. So anyway, I come to realize that batteries are expensive as heck. Okay. So again, you need to take really good care of them. So I decided, let me look at something else. And the company Parrot came into play. And so, by the way, I got all of the drones behind me to show you a little bit later. And then I'm going to show you some video samples as well. So Parrot came in, and this is the original so-called Parrot 3.0 or Parrot 1. And it is a unique design in that it's got a 1080p camera and 180-degree lens. It's a fisheye lens that is slightly angled. And by the way, did you see the price? $79.99. This is brand new in box, and it does not come with a controller, but you can fly with just simply your phone if you have to. But for another $20, $30, you can buy what they call a SkyPad and link it to that drone, and you're all set. That plus your phone and the drone, you're all set. And it comes, let me see where I put it. When you get it, brand new sealed, this is what you get. This used to sell for about $200 something. And for about 400 something, you can get it with the so-called Sky Controller One. And I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. It's a little bit daunting. So this is what you get. You get bumper guards or the propeller guards. You get the charger. You get all of the European plug adapters and US plug adapters, extra set of propellers, a propeller wrench to install them and remove them, and of course your instructions to set it up and, you know, get off the ground, in other words. Again, you just cannot pass this up. This is available right now for about $80, and I believe they provide you with free shipping. Yeah, and it comes from what? New York, Brooklyn. So there you go. I already purchased one. That's one of them. That's one of the ones that they sell. It flies perfectly. GPS locks perfectly as well. And, you know, what else can you ask for? It will perform amazing videography for you, especially if you're just a beginner. 1080p, that is basically completely stabilized. You will not believe how well this is stabilized with nothing mechanical doing the job. You all know what a gimbal looks like, right? People use it on phones. People use it on DSLRs and smaller cameras. Yeah, it takes the tilt action of you moving away and you get a very smooth, almost gliding look to your video. Well, that's what that drone will do by itself without anything mechanical, because it's using that 180-degree view from top to bottom, from left to right, and every angle thereof. And so as the drone is moving around, because it will move around, it's not going to, you know, fly on rails. It will be affected by wind, and so forth, and your controls, of course. If you're a little rough at first, it will stabilize that. Again, I'm going to show you that later on. So anyway, that's the one that I just bought. I got 4 of them total right now. Okay. And I have performed some modifications on them. Zip tie to extend the landing gears. You can have 3D printed extensions for your legs, but the 3D material, the 3D printed plastic material, it doesn't really stand up to the stresses of landing. These drones do not land very gently. They sort of come down relatively fast. And so you need something that's springy. I could drop this from 10 feet and nothing will happen to it. Whereas if I do not have this installed, it will cause some damage possibly. These have brushless motors. Okay? Anyone that knows what brush motors and brushless motors are will immediately go, ah, okay. So that original drone that I showed you, the white one in the box, that was a little bit about the same size as this, that has brush motors. And the brush motors usually require 2 gears to bring the high RPM of the motor to a more manageable RPM for the propellers. And so it's not something you want for long-lasting, you know, a long-lasting set of motors. No, the brush motors will wear out, whereas brushless motors will practically go on forever. Now here is the so-called fly pad. And what you do with this particular model, here's the original Parrot battery. Again, these are really rare now. And even if when you can find them, they basically will come to you totally discharged. And it's hard to kickstart them to start taking a charge. These batteries are never meant to be brought down to 0 voltage. That is bad. That literally will render them useless. So you need to buy newer batteries. And this is a company called Jiffy or Jiffy. And they actually provide you with a better battery. Notice it's a little bit higher. It's got a lot more power, meaning a lot more milliamps per hour, which means longer flight. Okay, so these will snap in to this little connector here. It's a little odd. This has been improved greatly down the road. And of course, this little Velcro, little belt right here, to keep it from possibly loosening up during flight. You don't really want that to happen. So I run these batteries down to 10% according to what my controller is reporting. So I have my phone attached to this. I have the phone set to airplane mode, but I have Wi-Fi turned on. That way I don't get any calls, I don't get any messages, but I still have Wi-Fi. This is Bluetooth. So you have to have Bluetooth activated also on your phone. This is the simplest one, okay? About 29 bucks is what this costs. And so that is an additional cost to the $79 that it costs to buy one of those drones, brand new, even today. Let me show you the Sky Controller One. Get ready for this. Oh, there goes my phone. Let me see who it is. It is nothing I want to talk to. Okay, so here's a Sky Controller. As you can see, this thing's a monster. Look at the size of that antenna. So this is really good for long range flying, okay? Which I don't really do because I like to keep my drones in sight, my human eyes. If I don't see it, it's too far, okay? So you gotta put this belt on over your neck, and then you think you're a fighter pilot. You attach your phone or tablet to this. This will take a 10-inch tablet, by the way. And basically this will connect to the drone. This will connect to the drone, this unit. And then the drone will connect to the phone. So as the drone is sending the signal back from your camera via Wi-Fi, your phone will pick it up, but this controller is sending the commands to the drone. So you got your right stick here and your left stick here. And then your camera gimbal controls right here and so forth. So when you use this unit, okay, here's the amazing thing. When you use this unit, let me put it back because it's a waste of time. And originally that was about a $200 purchase. So when you use that unit, you're able to not only pan the camera, okay, with the drone standing still, you can pan the camera so that it looks up, down, and usually that's about it. But with that particular controller, you can actually look to the left and to the right and angular. 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, which is really amazing. That is something that nothing else out there. I don't care who you are, what you're flying. No one can stand your drone out of hover and pan that camera, say at 11 o'clock. Show me something that'll do that. Nothing will do that. So that is one of the really interesting and weird, I guess, features about the Bebop using that controller. Now, so Parrot decided, hey, this Bebop needs to be improved upon. And of course, I agree with that. So in comes, let me find it, back here. The Bebop 2, and then the Bebop 2 Power Edition. And all that is they improved the battery life, okay, or the milliamps per hour, the mAh, as I call it. And they did some other improvements internally as well. And so here it is, much better designed than the original one. Really, it is. The camera is much better. I have done some modifications on it already. And that's the beauty about these drones, because they're not so proprietary like the other companies, okay, where you cannot do anything. These actually afford you to do whatever you wish. There's all sorts of accessories, and the 3D printing people have all sorts of doodads that they will, you know, provide you a file for. And if you have a 3D printer, you can go ahead and produce them at home. So much better connection. That other one was a little bit dangerous, actually. Let me see. Do I have the batteries? Here they are. Let's bring these batteries over here. Wish I had a little bit more room here. Got my FAA registration right here. You have to attach that to all of your drones, because anything over 250 grams or 0.55 pounds has to be registered. But it's only one registration for all of the drones that you have that go beyond that weight restriction. So it's beyond 0.55 to 75 pounds. Now, what kind of monster would that be, right? So All of my little drones like this, they weigh more than 250 grams, so they all have their little sticker. And watch. You hear that? It's not going to come off in flight. One of the things that could go wrong, people say, oh, my drone fell out of the sky. Well, it fell out of the sky because maybe you did not attach the battery securely. And it could be DJI, it could be anything. It doesn't matter. It doesn't care. The falling out of the sky excuse sometimes is used a bit too much. Quite often, it is traced back to user error. There's so many causes for something like that. Disconnection of signal. You didn't set your return to home altitude high enough, and you run into a tree trying to return home after a fail-safe kicks in. You know, again, we're getting off the subject here. So these batteries can be charged either with the original stock charger. I went ahead and bought a third-party charger, which allows me to charge 3 of these at once and balance charge them. So I actually see what each of the 3 cells has as far as voltage, and as they are being charged up and balanced, kept balanced, so that they reach their final voltage of 4.2 volts per cell, I can actually see that on my charger being displayed. Whereas the original chargers that come with these kits do not provide you with that. It's a kind of a blind charger. You assume it's being charged and balanced at the same time. Now, if you feel like changing the look of your drone, you can just buy a nose cone and replace it. It's a simple process. Again, as I said, I got my rubber landing gears here. These have antennas at the legs, but it's only in the rear legs. So depending on your orientation, okay, and how you are facing the drone with your controller, signal will improve or decrease slightly. It just depends. When we get to the more advanced drones that I'm going to show you, you will see where having an antenna on 4 legs simultaneously gives you a much better range, and also keeping the maximum Wi-Fi signal to your drone, regardless of orientation. So, like I was saying, if I want to change this to a red drone, I just change the nose cone and change the front props to a set of red ones. And it looks kind of cool. Now, to run this puppy, you can use the Sky Controller 1, which is kind of monstrous, or the Sky Controller 2, but the black unit, which is basically designed for the Bebop 2, or you can just use the Sky Controller 2 small version, which is this one right here. This is wonderful. This thing works fantastic. And again, you just use a data transfer cable, OTG cable, and you attach it to your phone. Then you turn your phone Wi-Fi off, completely off, and put it on airplane mode, because this now connects to the drone, and the signal from the drone goes through your controller and gets transferred to your phone via this cable. That is the most secure way to fly. Everything the camera sees, you will see on your phone, okay? And you can send commands from the phone. Don't get me, don't misunderstand me, but the controller is the main commander here. And so through the application, you can set all sorts of parameters. This is the gimbal adjustment right here. This is for shooting photos and so forth, for changing the exposure on the fly as well. And I love it. It's very simple, really nice stick controls. If you're a thumber using your thumb or a pincher, again, it provides you with just the best feel. And this can go for about maybe $65 if you find it on eBay. Often the batteries are a little bit difficult to find, but hey, people, because these are not entirely proprietary systems, this is a regular LiPo battery. It's a couple of cells or 3 cells. You just can buy a replacement, and if you're really good at soldering, you can actually install the cable that this thing uses and pop it in. Once this battery stops taking a charge, which it might at some time, you can go ahead and replace it, or just buy a replacement battery. They're not cheap. They're about $60 for the battery for this controller. This is the Sky Controller 2, which is pretty awesome and gives you complete control. Okay, now let's move on to my latest, and this is the Anafi. So let's go ahead and jump over to eBay. So here are a bunch of offers for, Bebop 2s. If you want to start, if you really want to start, and you don't want to be messing around with too many other drones like I did. I've gone through several. Some of them were just unmentionable. And the Bebop 2, really, the Bebop 2 is just fabulous. It will do everything you need for it to do. You can learn how to fly. You can learn everything there is about flying. It doesn't restrict you. Give me an example. Say you want to fly in a more confined area. Well, if you have obstacle avoidance turned on, it may not let you do that. So what people do is turn it off. Well, why have it available if you're not going to use it, right? So that's not the case. Also, it may tell you for some ridiculous reason that you cannot fly in that area. It may be because there's a gravel airstrip somewhere that doesn't even have a tower and it hasn't been used in a year and a half, but it's still registered as a runway. And so it will restrict you. It will not allow you to take off. Okay. I don't want that. I don't want anyone telling me where, when and where I can take off. I know how to abide by the laws. So it's up to me. Okay. I don't need some firmware or something within the unit itself preventing me from flying. Also, often they are constantly updating the firmwares. So you may have left home and then you go to your location and you power everything up and you can't fly. And it will not allow you to say, hey, well, I'll load that firmware later. No, you have to do it right there. That's often the case. So again, what happens when you're loading firmware? You have to download it using whatever lousy Wi-Fi service you have in that location. Data charges will occur, and it might take about half an hour to get everything loaded up. That's battery that's burning up. Okay, that's battery power you're using up. I want to be able to get there. I will research the area first. Okay, there's many apps that you can load on your phone that will tell you specifically where you are located and what restrictions are on the table at that very minute. It may be something temporary. It may be something permanent. Well, it will tell you. And so you can actually load that location when you're still at home so that you don't get any surprises when you're there. But again, like I said, I don't want anyone telling me what I can or cannot do. So for a nice kit, Parrot Bebop 2 FPV, that's the newest, by the way, $449, $450 will get you this kit. Again, fantastic. You can't beat it. You cannot beat it. 2 batteries, you're ready to go. And by the way, this is a new battery that I just got, and I got my FAA sticker here. I'm going to put it right here with some tape, and that's all you need to do. And it also helps if you, somewhere put your contact phone number in case you do lose contact of the drone and it goes and drifts someplace and lands somewhere. Somebody might find it and hopefully not keep it, but contact you back and tell you they found it. That would be nice. Without the phone, they have to contact the FAA and then find out through that ID number, through that serial number or registration number, who you are and how to get in contact with you. I would rather have someone actually contact me, some good Samaritan, if you will, to contact me. Let's see who's on the chat. We're going to get over to the Anafi in a minute. Then I'm going to switch over to my drive and show you some video samples. And then if you guys have any questions, go ahead and post them right here. George VZ. He was VZ. Yes, I got it. Just like VZ. You were on my live stream Saturday night. Nice to have you here tonight with us. He's here from, let's see, he didn't say from where. Pimpinel Portfolio. Pimentel Portfolio, and I know who you are. Says hello, Third Eye View. I know who you are as well. I'll be in the panel with you. Yeah. So next week we're gonna do it using what is that called? Oh gosh, I think you know what I mean. I'll set it all up, and then what I do is I will have a link generated that you can then just basically load on your browser and accept that you're gonna use StreamYard. That's a StreamYard, and you can join us and we'll be on the panel together. So just like my friend Dan from Drone Worship does, he's doing it tonight at 8, so I want to be able to maybe get on a little bit later if he stays on long enough. Usually I miss his live streams. Let's see, Steven Naotarski from Michigan is here. Pimentel Portfolio says, do you recommend getting the FAA 107 certificate? Only if you're going to be doing commercial work. That's it. If you're going to be, basically shooting real estate, or you get really good and you can start shooting jobs such as high tension tower, inspections. Yeah. Why would you want to take a cherry picker up there? No, just fly the drone and you can use your camera to, take pictures or video. First responders, they need to be 107 certified. People who do surveying, people who do 3D mapping with their drones, people who do whatever they do and they make money from it, they have to be 107 certified. The test is a little ridiculous because they expect you to basically almost take a pilot's exam, a regular fixed wing pilot's exam, which is ridiculous. You don't have to be a fixed wing pilot to fly a drone. So anyway, hopefully they will change that in the future. And if I get to the point where I get, someone's offering me work, then sure, I will do that. And then I will upgrade to a good DJI drone or something from Parrot or something from, other companies that may be, at the same level. Not too many. George VZ says, which of your drones have the best camera, and or does it shoot raw? Okay, the one that I'm going to show you next. George VZ is in Tampa, so yes, we go to Disney also. Yeah, I'm a Disney nut. My wife was a cast member for about 5 years, and so we took advantage of all of the benefits that you get as a cast member. And so that's when my mom and dad moved to Florida originally. They were living right next to Central Florida University on East Colonial. And so, again, it was just, twice a year almost visit. And my wife got in for free. And she just worked at a store up here in the Maryland area. And, she gets in for free. I get 4 hopper passes a year. And so half off resort and all sorts of other discounts, which was really great. But then something happened to the company. They actually sold the Disney store name to another private company. And then my wife said, forget it, because they took all the bennies away. And so she just did it for the bennies. She wasn't really making any money whatsoever. Anyway, so anyhow, and Dan lives in Tampa. Dan Drone Worship lives in Tampa as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Anafi, or Anafi, as they call it in France. Okay, so here we go. So this is the Anafi, or the Anafi. This is a $699.99 drone. And it shoots 4K HDR video. And you can just go and Google that, if you will. It has a 180-degree gimbal. It can shoot straight up in the air, and I'm going to show you examples of that a bit later. It does all sorts of different shooting modes, automation type modes. Again, really, really a cool drone. It has zoom capabilities as well, which is ridiculous. Extremely compact. And now there's even an improvement on it. The so-called Anafi FPV, which they redesigned the body, they redesigned the legs that open up because they were a little bit flexible. I mean, that is understandable. But it's a great drone for the enthusiast that's, go out biking, kayaking, whatever. I use it for other purposes. I use it for just regular, nice cinematic video. The only thing that people, you got to realize that there's so many haters out there, and so they will complain about everything, because as soon as I see something sort of begin to encroach on, the DJI kingdom, they get a little bit upset, and it's like, please, almost like they're taking it personally. So they call these dragonfly wings. Well, they're just very thin propellers, extremely flexible. I have never broken one yet. And I don't know of anybody that has actually broken one. They will bend, they will not break. If you really bang into something forcibly, they will just bend. They'll never break. But the reason they are so lightweight is because the drone is also lightweight, and the motors are small, and it only needs to generate so much power and so much lift. So it doesn't have to be, carbon fiber or anything of the sort. Absolutely not. You can hand launch anywhere you want. You can activate that function. You have all of the follow me modes. You have all of the mapping modes that you want to achieve. If you want to create autonomous flight paths, you can you can design them while you are at home, and then go on location, load that map up. It will load that path that you created. During the flying, it will adjust the camera gimbal for you. It will zoom in and out. It will find the point of interest, and all you have to do is sit on your chair and watch it do it. Okay. So again, does that take all the fun out of flying? Maybe. But if you want to do something that you are not really going to get a chance to come back to that location, you want it done right the first time, maybe this is the way to go. So this is the FPV version. It's a few $100s more. $7.99 will get you the goggles, which are really neat. They have a button here that allows you to access and activate all of the different functions of the application. Okay, so somehow it communicates with the phone. Okay, and again, it just adds that first-person view type feature, which to me is nothing. I would buy this only because of the redesigned legs. And there's some slight changes that they did. It ended up weighing not even more than a couple of grams for this model. Also, they have a thermal model for about another nearly $950 more. The thermal mode, which is what first responders are now using to locate someone who's lost in a cornfield, or after a flood, or a missing dog after a hurricane, that type of thing. So again, not the line of work that I would be getting into for me to go out and buy one of those, but again, it's there and it flies just so smoothly, and I'm going to show you that pretty soon once you get. Now, something new just came out. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Skydio 2. Skydio 1 looked a little bit strange. It looked like a folding drone. The drone, literally, you fold it in half. Well, this is different. I'm not going to say too much about it. If you're curious, just look it up, land in this site right here, and just go ahead and watch. Okay? This is selling like hotcakes right now. They're just taking pre-orders. I think they sold all of the units that they had. This is in conjunction with Parrot from France and the MIT group. Okay? And those guys are smart. And I think DJI is a little bit worried about this. All right, so if you guys want to buy any of this stuff that I just showed you, go to my site, go to my channel. This is my printing channel, and click on the Amazon link right there. Once you're in here, go ahead and save it, bookmark it, and search. Just buy whatever you wish to buy. If you do buy it through Amazon, it will take you not even a gram of extra, what's the word? Work to just simply order through my affiliate page. This is basically right now for photography and printing. But if you want to buy a drone or anything else, you can just basically go to the site, bookmark it, use that from now on, do your searches here For example, just going to put drone. And there you go. You have a ton of drones to buy. And when you buy them, then the channel gets a little bit of a cut. Not that much, but it all adds up in the end. So that would be extremely appreciated by me. It's a very easy way for you guys, and painless, since you're going to buy stuff through Amazon anyway, way to support the channel. I really would appreciate that if you did that. Now, playlist. Go to the playlist and look for drones right here. I'm not going to play them all because
Braxton
I don't want
was
you to
diagnosed with colorectal
So here's an ad that's
carcinoma,
playing right now.
a brain tumor.
Let the ad
St.
play,
Jude is helping
if
us
you will. That's
put
another
away
way
our
to support
fears.
the channel.
We
They're not very
have
long. This is 50
an amazing
seconds.
team
We're going to
that
go ahead and
fights.
bypass that. And it's going to then take you to my original problem that I had with the Q500 was simply turned out to be a bad battery. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get out of that because I don't want to show my own videos through YouTube and this system here that we're doing, our live stream. So let me go ahead and quickly show you some of the samples that I have that I plan to show you. We're going to go to my video projects right here. And I want to show you what the Q500 did initially. Once I replaced the battery, it was like, like day and night. So I'm going to go to Nathan's house and show you what I shot. I think it was last fall. So have a look and enjoy. I'm just going to go ahead and play a little bit of it. This just gives you the specs of the video I was shooting. Keep in mind we are streaming, so it may be at 1080p, and this is actually 4K. Although my screen doesn't do 4K, so it's 1080p basically. Then I realized that my micro SD card wasn't fast enough to capture 4K. So I switched over to 1080p, 120 frames per second. It's this small, so then I just basically enlarged it in Adobe Premiere to fit the full 4K frame. This has not been slowed down, by the way, so you can see how smooth. This is a big bird. This is that big, unique Typhoon Q500 4K drone. The thing is a monster. So this is Nathan's house, by the way. This is my very first successful flight with it. Prior to that, I was having those battery problems, and simply it was just due to the battery that they provided me. One of the cells just could not take a charge. So what it was doing, it would take off and then immediately go into emergency landing. So they at least gave me a brand new $120 battery, which basically brought the price of $350 that I paid for it down to like $250. Lower down the volume a little bit. You see how smooth it is. It's really amazing for something so large. Let's go ahead and jump forward. And I was a little bit worried about taking it up too high. I was just, again, this is like, it wouldn't fly at all before, and now it's all of a sudden flying and flying extremely well. So I kind of kept it a little bit, shall we say, conservative. These are the neighbors. That house over there used to be the grandmother's house. Now it's owned by a landscaping company. So this is grandma's old house. This is the parents' house. And my daughter and her husband and my son and Nathan live in this huge house. When you have a quad that can yaw or rotate on its own axis and do it without moving around, what they call toilet bowl effect, which means almost like a spiral. That means you have a really good GPS lock. The GPS will basically tell you the exact location of the drone. Here we go. We're going to climb up a little bit. My goal when producing videos like this is to sort of edit to the music. I see a lot of work on YouTube that could really take a little bit of improvement when it comes to editing. The material is good, it's just that the edited versions that they upload could use a little bit more work. I'm going to be doing some videos on just that very subject. I'm going to take some random aerial shots and then I'm going to go ahead and edit them to give a cinematic effect. All right, I think that's enough for this one. I'm sure you guys want to see what the Bebop One, the simple everyday Bebop One can do. Oh, by the way, Pimentel portfolio, yes, lossless zoom as well. You got the Anafi, so you know what we're talking about. Awesome. How do you like it? Tell us about that. Please tell us right here in the chat. I'm going to quickly show you. Let me see if I can find just something on the Bebop One. Anything. Here we go. Let me put this in order here by name. Oh, well, you saw what the Q500 can do, so no need to show you any more of that. Again, that bird is huge, not easy to, transport either. So we're going to go to Nathan's house again with the Bebop One, Sky Controller One. That's that big, bulky controller here. This is 1080p stabilized in camera, not on the computer. This is that little one. This is that wee small one. This puppy right here. To do in the future is start doing a little bit more traveling. I'm going to be going up to Pennsylvania this fall, in fact in a couple of weeks, and hopefully take some Bebop One. There goes my boy Nathan, going to his house. You can notice there's no shakiness to the video. It's smooth. Whatever movements you see are the movements of the drone itself. And it's all about that. It's all about smooth video. I do something that's a little odd. I like to walk the drone around. So So I will walk right behind it and take it for a walk. And we'll go between trees and behind bushes, that sort of thing. And that just helps you to learn how to maneuver and, you know, perfect that hand-eye coordination thing that you need to master, especially when you're trying to fly toward you. Right here, I cut away because I was about to hit that tree. So again, when you're flying toward you, everything is reversed. Okay, let's go ahead and jump over to a Bebop 2 video, because I know you guys want to see if there's any kind of difference. So let's see, make sure that I got a good one here. Here's Bebop 2 at Nathan's house again. And I apply a crop in Premiere to give it more of a widescreen cinematic look. There are all sorts of tricks that you can do, especially in the Anafi, to get a nice smooth yaw like this, where you don't have flickering of the frames. You need to set your shutter speed to twice the frame rate. So if it's 30 frames per second, you set it to 1/60th of a second. And that will impart a little bit of motion blur to it. Notice what happened here. Nathan pressed the up button. Boom, we went up. By the way, Nathan knows how to fly. He's 7 years old. So legally, he's got to wait until he's 14. But he is really good at it. Okay, so we're gonna, my son came out. Gimbal down. Again, optical gimbal is not mechanical. So the drone is horizontal. The camera is still, pointing straight out. And there, you saw a little bit of an artifact there. That's because it reached the maximum of that 180 degree, field of view. So one of the things that I'm going to be discussing is this. I go from a rotation view to, as the music changed and basically starts getting very gradual, I introduced the shot of me gaining altitude. And this is with the Bebop 2. I could have been racing the drone and also then tilting the camera down at the same time. That's one of those skills that you really need to learn. Here's my daughter, Judy, my wife, son, myself, and the boy. All right. So that is that one. Let's go ahead and take a look at one more, and then we're going to do the Anafi. Let's see. And show you some really cool things about the Anafi. I gotta find this one particular one that I like. I forgot the name of it. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump over here a minute. Let's open up the Anafi. Let's unveil it. So, I bought a little extra case. So, Pimentel. This was only $20. Let me show you what that looks like internally. Really nice. At this point, I'm so glad that I got it. Look at that. 2 batteries, the camera case, and the controller. All in one little box. It comes with 2 straps. You can put it on your back and be on your way. Here's the drone. Its own little case. Again, if you wear baggy pants with a big old pocket, you can probably shove this in there and nobody will know you're carrying it. Data cable and the drone. Okay. And again, it's just simply a folding drone. Opens up like this and like this. I bought an extra gimbal guard that keeps falling off. It's not really doing a good job at guarding my gimbal. But it helps when you put it in your case. So basically it just goes on like that. You see that? And you just remove it. Lens cover. There are filters that you can buy. If you get into neutral density filter work, you can go ahead and buy those. As you can see, it is 2-axis. It's not 3-axis. It doesn't rotate like this does. This one rotates in all 3 axes. So the 3rd axis, the horizontal yaw, if you will, is controlled electronically. And they have mastered that ability. Okay, no one in the business has come up with a better electronic stabilization system. Internally, that is. So far, I'm waiting for someone else to come up with something better. And no one has really stepped up to the plate. So what can I tell you? You know, and these are the things that I sort of, you know, I chuckle when I hear all of the haters talking about, you know, DJI being the best, blah, 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 blah. Well, show me something better. I think my wife just got home. Are you home? I'm doing something. Anyway, so let's go ahead and put this away. And I will do videos just on this later on. Let me look up that one video that I wanted to share with you guys. It is an AFI video where I took it around Nathan's house. Oh, by the way, what about, oh, here we go. This is interesting. You guys wanted to see the gimbal in action. So here we go. So I'm in my backyard. Yeah, that is a toilet with a skeleton on it right there. In case you were wondering. So the drone is not rising in altitude. It's the gimbal moving straight up. And I should be able to aim it straight up to the sky, 90 degrees up. Whereas the Bebop 2 and Bebop 1 can only go to about maybe a 45 degree because the whole camera is tilted down slightly, about 45 degrees already. So the uppermost movement of the electronic gimbal is not a full 90 degrees straight up. So we are actually at 90 degrees straight up at this point. We're going to go ahead and bring it back down. Again, it's just hovering. No evidence of propellers getting into the camera view. That's a problem with a lot of drones that have mechanical gimbals. Okay, especially if you're in sports mode and you're pitching forward at a rather steep angle, your propellers will get in the way. But this drone is designed in a way that just is impossible to do. No matter how hard you try, it will not happen. You can see the trees waving back there. Pretty windy day. And look at the stability of the drone. Look at the shadow right there. It's just sitting there as we look straight down. That's pretty amazing. Full 80-degree travel. And imagine what you can do, the type of reveal shots that you can do while you're moving forward, looking straight down, and then bringing that gimbal. And by the way, the rate of movement is completely adjustable. So you're able to just do it at a snail's pace or, you know, extremely quick and abrupt, which I don't like to do. So right now we're going to the right and raising the gimbal up at the same time to a more horizontal level. And this is what kind of sold me on this particular unit. And again, I got it brand new, 550. from a seller that didn't even deal with drones. He had other non-related items on his site, but he had that one item that I just could not pass up, and it was in box, sealed, and brand spanking new. Really, I just don't know what else I could ask for when it comes to this type of video quality. It's superb, if you ask me. A little bit later on, I'm going to show you some photographs that I took as well. And, you know, depending on the mode that you choose or the settings that you choose for your movements, you can actually adjust the reactivity of your sticks movements to what actually happens or how the drone translates it. It's amazing. You can just set it, custom set it to exactly the way you want it to perform and react to your movements or your commands. But again, imagine, I've heard people really chastise this drone, and I'm going, well, did you even get your hands on one? Really? Did you? Because otherwise, you should not be talking that way, because unless you actually tested it, and indeed you found it to be inferior to whatever other instrument or drone out there, then yeah, you have a right to say that. But if you have not, then you're just basically parroting what someone else may be saying. And I really dislike that about our community of drone flyers. There's a lot of politics in there, and it should not be. It should be an inclusive, you know, self-supporting community. Oh well, what can you do? I think we're gonna go ahead and land. I want to show you how gentle this lands. I didn't show you any of the landings from the Bebop 1 or 2. Those are sometimes a little scary. So this will come to a hover about a foot above ground. I'm moving it over to one of these stones here, and then we're just going to go ahead and land gently right here. Let's bring it down. There you go. And we are down. Boom. All right. Let me see if I can find the last one, and then we'll go ahead and show you some pictures. And I'll just go back upstairs. My wife is back from her meeting, and so it should be a good evening ahead. We're going to be watching a movie. I believe she had that planned for me. Okay, let's see. Nafi. Come on, where are they, Nafi? Oh, digital zoom. You guys want to see that? Of course you do. Here we go. So this is the zoom. You guys tell me. I'm just hovering right now. I am not moving laterally, front or back. I'm just zooming in and out. That's controlled by a specific button on the lower right side of the controller. Again, I noticed a little bit of fuzz. This is actually getting into the lossy side of the zoom. In other words, it's more not digital because it's all digital. So what it's doing is that when you're shooting 4K video, this is a pretty big sensor it has, 21 megapixel sensor. It's a little bit larger than the Mavic Air, in fact, from DJI. And so when you're shooting video, it's not really utilizing the complete sensor. So you can use that extra area to zoom into. So even though it is digital, it is lossless. And then when you go past that point, then you got, you know, more digital magnification taking place. And so then you lose a little bit of resolution. Pretty neat, right? I thought so. You also have HDR video, which is, you know, high dynamic range. If you're shooting under conditions that are going to be a bit, shall we say, extreme as far as brightness and such goes, no better way to get your best effect than to shoot at the so-called HDR mode. Now, show you two more and then we're done. This is the Anafi at Nathan's Yard. This is cinematic mode. So I want you to take a quick look at this. Tell me if you see something. As I start moving and I start to yawn, you might detect a little bit of horizontal tilt. You see that? Yeah, right there. So cinematic mode will allow the aircraft to basically record video like a fixed-wing airplane would do. And you see the tilting action. Look at that. I love this. So this is like a whole 4.5 minutes of nothing but flying non-stop. It was getting a little bit dark. The sun was almost down over the horizon behind us here. And all I did was fly around figure eights and circles and activate that fluid motion of the horizon. See how everything is tilted, and then when you begin to move straight, it's straight and south. If I was to move to the right, you would then tilt the opposite direction, just like a fixed-wing aircraft would do, or a helicopter even. See that fluidity that you introduce when you go from straight to, getting into a turn. There I am down there. So I just realized that was available. I really didn't know what it did. I think it was just another, frame rate change or something like that. But I didn't realize it would actually produce this type of effect. And so I wouldn't use it for lateral shots or maybe center of interest or point of interest type shots. But for your traveling shots, oh gosh, this is awesome. So again, this is the Parrot Anafi 4K. My drone of choice from now on. So maybe I buy the Skydio 2 in the future. They actually are using the same controller that the Parrot Anafi uses. Go ahead and take a look at that later on tonight if you get a chance. You'll be amazed at what it can do. It actually beats the Mavic in several operations. If you really want to make this look natural, then you have to get really good at entering a turn or a yaw while you're also activating the roll function on your right stick so that you have an extremely gradual, it's almost like a spiral entering into the turn instead of an abrupt one. And the addition of the horizon tilt to that will give you the most fluid cinematic look you have ever encountered. Let me go ahead and advance from here. We're going to come down here. So I stop right here. Here I am. We're going to come down ever so slowly. Like I said, you can adjust everything. And by the way, any of you who have it, have you upgraded the app with the latest one? And also upgraded the firmwares for the controller as well as the drone, because some of this functionality is not available in the older firmware. The one that I originally had when the drone arrived within not even a couple of months ago. Butter smooth. I'm going to hover about a foot off the ground. I'm not touching ground yet. I'm going to raise up the gimbal. It will fade away. Alrighty. So I hope you guys enjoy that. That was pretty cool, if I say so myself. So let me quick show you some photos. So the Parrot 1 or the Parrot Bebop 1 and 2 having that strange 180-degree camera can only shoot fisheye photos. So you will get basically like a big circular result. You use software or use a built-in correction filter that's in Adobe Lightroom, I'm sorry, or a little app that costs like 99 cents for your phone, and you can then make it into a rectilinear image. This is my neighbor's yard. She allows me to do that. And this is from the Parrot Bebop 2. Here's some more Bebop 2 photos. I mean, look at that. These are corrected DNG files. They're raw. Here's my Halloween prank, the toilet with the skeleton on it. This is me sitting down, controlling the drone way back there. These are about 10 by 12 photos. I mean, look at that. These are wonderful images. And I did this one with the Anafi full raw file, 21 megapixel, converted in the Lightroom application to remove any slight distortion. The application comes with a Parrot Anafi correction filter. It will correct any kind of rectilinear curvature. Most lenses introduce that, especially drone cameras. And so here it is. Let me get it as close as I can. I want you guys to see. Actually, you can read the word stop at the stop sign at the top of the screen. That's how sharp it is. You can actually see every single brick on all of these houses. These are, 1960s ranch style houses. They're all brick. So sharp, 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 and really good. So easy. You just bring it up, orient it the way you want, adjust the gimbal up and down, press the photo button. It shoots a perfectly good raw file. And also, if you ask it to do so, it provides you with a JPEG file as well on your cart. And then you basically then connect the drone to the computer. I don't like removing the card because the design of that SD card holder, they should have thought this out a little bit more. Okay, so I'm a huge fan, but this is one of the big faults that they did not and should have corrected during the design stage. You have to basically remove this very flimsy little clamp and take the card out. I use a pair of tweezers if I have to actually remove the card, because too many people with fat fingers and a little bit rough treatment have broken that little clasp, and that's it. You will no longer be shooting any video or taking photos. Okay, so what I do is I just connect the drone while it's still on with a USB cable to my computer, transfer all of the files over. And when I need to reformat the file, the card, say for instance, I have 128 gigabyte card on there. It's a 100 megabit per second transfer card, Extreme. This SanDisk Extreme, and so far it's been taking and capturing 4K video without any glitches of any sort. So again, connected to your computer, it comes up as a drive. It's just called Anafi. Transfer the files over to your PC or Mac and process them and put together some great videos. All right. I hope you guys enjoy this. Let me see. Do we have any good number of people? Only 12 people here tonight, so that's good. We'll get this up. I'm going to get this up in the future, I'm sure. So my plan next week, I'm going to experiment with the other streaming software so that we can get people to be able to join me as well. So what you'll see on the screen is not just my face, but other people as well. And you'll be able to then carry on conversations together. StreamYard, yeah. So either you can install StreamYard yourself, or just simply use the link that I would provide you and momentarily say, yes, I wanna use this link. And so it will allow you to then join us. You better have a camera. You better have a microphone. You can use it from your phone as well, but it's not as good. So it's better if you have a setup, somewhat a setup like for podcasting. So again, I'm looking forward to that. Let me see what else is on here that people may have asked. So George VC says, wow. Yeah, I didn't show you everything. I got some other stuff that's really amazing as well. JTS Golf from Southern California is here. Danny Ramos, nice work, Jose. Thank you. Thank you very much. George says on the Anafi, take it that the motors are brushless. Yes. Yeah, all of the drones that I show you, except for the very first one and the little tiny baby one, they're all brushless. Okay. And with the Bebops, I'm telling you, man, if you want to start off, get a Bebop 1 or a Bebop 2. Okay. You will not regret it. You really will not regret it. And learn how to connect the drone to your phone properly so that you don't have any cutouts, you don't have any interference. Don't fly over, very congested urban area with so much Wi-Fi interference. These drones communicate to each other via Wi-Fi. You have a problem, you know how your phone sometimes doesn't quite, imagine you're actually relying on Wi-Fi while you're flying. I hope they come up with a better method. This is why I like the Typhoon Q500, because the controller uses a proprietary signal to control the drone. Okay, so it's not really relying on the current 2.4 Wi-Fi. So is that better? Is that worse? I don't know yet. But so far, I haven't had nothing but successes with my Q500. So, but that's a little bit too advanced to begin on. I should not have bought it right off the bat like I did. I went from one toy drone, basically that little white one that I showed you, to the Q500, which is about semi-pro level drone. That was a mistake in my part, and one that I don't think people getting into this should do, or go that route. Start with something simple, something that'll keep you so satisfied with the experience and still not put you in the poorhouse. In other words, this is why people recommend DJI. DJI is easy to fly, but you know what? You still crash them. There's tons of crash videos on YouTube, okay, involving these drones. User error, that's the biggest culprit. So learn with something that's only going to cost you $50, okay? Learn how to maneuver the basics of flying, and then move up to a Bebop 1 or a Bebop 2 or an Anafi, like our friend here did. Okay, and I'm sure she's satisfied with it. So what will I be doing next? I'm going to be working the Anafi to death. Yes, I will. And that's going to be, my next goal. I just got to start then finding different locations where I can legally fly correctly, because I am not 107 certified yet. So once I do that, it's actually a little detrimental in a way, because if you're 107, it's something like $200 something every 2 years, the license renewal, and you got to retake that test. It's going to be a different test every single time. Whereas if you're a recreational flyer and you just simply register your drone, then you can just go ahead and fly, as long as you stay under 400 feet, as long as you register your drone, as long as you don't fly over airports or near airports within a 5-mile radius, as long as you don't fly over stadiums while they're playing, over crowds of people, over highways, over buildings. You're not supposed to be doing any of that. And every single day I look at YouTube, I see people just breaking all of these rules. And that's why the FAA at this point has come up with so many stringent regulations and rules. There's always idiots in the crowd, regardless of what you do. Okay, so anyway, thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoy this. I'm going to try to do this again, maybe next Monday. It depends. It depends if I am coming home from Nathan's place. He was a little bit sick today, so he stayed home. So he did not go to school. And normally I would have been there till about 6. So we'll see. If 7:30 is a good time, we can continue to do this. We'll use StreamYard, invite a couple of people in the panel, and we can just shoot the breeze back and forth, because we'll be able to see each other talking, which is awesome. All right, thank you so much. See you the next time. Again, if you have any questions, reach me through this video itself. Once it gets processed as a video, there'll be a comment section. Ask everything you want right there, and I will immediately get back to you. Thank you so much, and happy flying, everybody. Bye-bye. Let's play some music. Fly, fly.